Welcome to Hollywood Star Celebrity, your front row seat to the legends of the big screen. Today, we're counting down the 10 toughest actors in Hollywood history. Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy wasn't just a Hollywood tough guy, he was the real deal. Born in 1925, he became the most decorated U.S. soldier of World War II before turning to acting. Standing just 5 feet 5 inches, he proved that toughness isn't about size, starring in gritty westerns and war films that mirrored his real-life heroism. Murphy's life was marked by courage on and off the battlefield, but tragically, he died in a plane crash in 1971 at only 45 years old. If he were alive today in 2025, he'd be 100, a century of living legend. Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson's toughness came long before the cameras ever rolled. He grew up in the coal mining towns of Pennsylvania, worked hard jobs from a young age, and served in the military before finding his way to Hollywood. With that weathered face and quiet, intimidating stare, he didn't need to say much to own the screen. Bronson passed away in 2003 at 81 years old, and if he were alive today in 2025, he'd be 103, still standing as one of the ultimate symbols of old-school grit. Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin brought a rough-edged authenticity to every role, shaped by a real-life background as a Marine in World War II, where he was wounded in combat. Tall, silver-haired, and armed with a gravelly voice, he had a way of commanding the screen without trying too hard. Off-screen, he lived just as boldly, never shying away from his own battles. Marvin died in 1987 at the age of 63, and if he were alive today in 2025, he'd be 100, still the definition of a no-nonsense tough guy. Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen earned his nickname, the King of Cool, by living life at full throttle. From a troubled childhood to serving in the Marines, he carried a quiet toughness that translated effortlessly on screen. Known for doing his own daring stunts and living for fast cars and motorcycles, McQueen became a true symbol of rebellious grit. He passed away in 1980 at just 50 years old, and if he were still here in 2025, he'd be 95. Likely still chasing speed and adventure. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas was the very definition of determination, rising from poverty as the son of immigrants to become one of Hollywood's most commanding leading men. With his unmistakable dimpled chin and fierce energy, he brought intensity to every role, both heroic and ruthless. Off-screen, he was just as resilient, surviving a helicopter crash and a stroke later in life. Douglas passed away in 2020 at the incredible age of 103, and in 2025, he would be 108, still towering in memory as one of cinema's toughest legends. James Cagney. James Cagney brought a fiery energy to the screen, famous for his fast-talking style and fierce presence that made every scene crackle. Though he often played tough gangsters, off-screen he was a disciplined, hard-working actor who valued his privacy and farm life over Hollywood glitz. His career spanned decades, earning him a reputation as one of cinema's most versatile tough guys. Cagney died in 1986 at the age of 86, and if he were alive today in 2025, he'd be 126, a living link to Hollywood's golden grit. John Wayne. John Wayne became the face of rugged American masculinity, with a slow drawl, towering frame, and a presence that filled the screen. He started in bit parts during the 1930s, but rose to icon status through decades of westerns and war films that mirrored his no-nonsense persona. Off-camera, he lived just as boldly, speaking his mind and never shying away from a fight. Wayne died in 1979 at 72 years old, and if he were alive in 2025, he'd be 118, still riding tall in the saddle of movie history. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum had a natural coolness that made toughness look effortless. With his laid-back charm, sleepy eyes, and deep voice, he could play heroes, anti-heroes, or outright villains with the same magnetic ease. His off-screen life was just as colorful, marked by wanderlust, boxing bouts, and a rebellious streak that matched his roles. Mitchum died in 1997 at the age of 79, and if he were alive today in 2025, he'd be 107, still the smoothest tough guy Hollywood ever knew. Anthony Quinn. Anthony Quinn's on-screen power came from a life as bold as the characters he played. Born in Mexico and raised in hardship, He fought his way into Hollywood with raw talent, fierce presence, and a willingness to tackle any role with intensity. His larger-than-life personality made him unforgettable both on and off the screen. Quinn passed away in 2001 at the age of 86, and if he were alive in 2025, he'd be 110, still commanding the spotlight with that unstoppable spirit. Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston carried a commanding presence that made him perfect for playing larger-than-life heroes. Raised in the American Midwest, he brought a mix of discipline and intensity to his craft, becoming one of Hollywood's most enduring leading men. Off-screen, he was outspoken and unafraid to stand by his beliefs, adding to his image as a man of conviction. Heston died in 2008 at the age of 84, and if he were alive today in 2025, he'd be 102, still walking tall in the story of Hollywood's toughest. Thanks for watching Hollywood Star Celebrity. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more star-packed stories.